can you share with us the inspiration behind founding FAVORIOT?
Okay. So, okay, thank you very much, Veronica. I think maybe it's a long story, but if you ask me about where do I start in our journey in building up Favorite, we pronounce the company as Favorite,
FAVORIOT.
not FAVORIOT or FAVORIOT, but it's Favorite. So it started in 2017. That's the company. But in fact, we have that vision to build the startup just about less than 1 year before that. I was in a previous company. We were traveling to Silicon Valley under a program by MDEC. It is what we call the immersion program, just to take a look at how the startups in the Silicon Valley, how they build their companies and how they become successful. So we just want to learn of how their thinking process, their vision, and how they become very successful. So we visited a lot of these companies, which we have seen, the tools, the applications that we have used here in Malaysia. Now we can see the actual company over there. So we are meeting people who have actually built the applications, the tools that we have been using every day. So it was very, very inspiring to see companies like Apple, Google, Facebook, Dropbox, and some of the accelerator companies who actually help to build these companies from a very small cubicle, with 2 or 3 people, now become a unicorn. So it was very inspiring. So at that time, when we were visiting and talking to the people over there, we become very inspired. I personally myself feel that, hey, if they can do it, why can't we? So that's the mindset that we have changed. We didn't realize, the hardship that you need to go through, but it looks like, hey, these people from a very small company, a cubicle, 2-person, become a unicorn. And it's not only 1 or 2 companies, but there's a lot of companies that have become successful and become a household name. So that mindset really changed personally myself and one of our co-founder. So we thought that, hey, why can't we build our own startup? So that's when we returned back, we decided to build our company, FAVORIOT, especially in the area of my own expertise, which is the Internet of Things. But the question is, which product that we want to build? So that's the starting point of how we believe, by changing the mindset, by looking at other inspiring companies, we decided to build FAVORIOT. That's the starting point.
Okay. So another question I have, like, as a CEO of FAVORIOT, what is your vision for the company's future, and how do you plan to achieve it? Understand, like, you're seeing this, putting this IoT to make it, like, where small team can happen. Okay.
Mm,
With the leverage or usage of a lot of tools,
mm,
technology, so where small teams can make their dreams big and actually make it come true.
yeah.
Correct. So from here, I really want to know, what is your vision for the company's future?
So I mean, uh, when we started off the journey, um, of course, no one knew our path and our future where it was want to go. But we started off to build a solution that we were thinking of, building that solutions that can help the elderly people globally. We have seen people, aging population, and how we can help our elderly parents who are staying at home without the assistance of their children, and how they can get help and how they can be monitored from remote. That's when that vision, we started off by building a solutions called Rakib, having a wearable device, and you can monitor through your mobile phone. So you can see their health patterns, and also their location where they are. If they can't remember where they want to go, I mean, to return home, that you can still detect them. So we started off building these solutions, but we have that mindset of, we can't build everything by ourselves. So we have to start small. So instead of building the hardware, we have to partner with another party to get the hardware, but we want to focus on our solutions. So the team is being built around building the application. Yeah. But of course, along the way, there is always challenges, and we have been pivoting the product, and we understand the market receptions, the conditions within the, even during the time when we have COVID, it impacts the market. Things that we were thinking at that time can go fast, but it couldn't. So that gives us a lot of what do you call that, understanding of how the market reacts to certain market conditions.
Mm.
But then there's one thing that it really strikes me, is that we do have our own technology, we own our own IP, which is the platform that we have built. So the team have been creating a platform that, which is what we call the IoT platform, or the FAVORIOT platform, which is the core of any IoT solutions. And since we have built that, we know that this platform can be deployed in all IoT implementations. The question is whether they want to choose our platform or not. But then that strength that we have built by the team is that having this platform, now we can encourage more and more people to build their own vertical application. Instead of we build every applications, we ask others to build their own applications, but using the platform itself. So now we are creating an ecosystem of IoT developers around the world, having about more than 120 countries around the world.
Mm.
More about 7,000 people have been utilizing this. And this is where we feel that if we can create a whole ecosystem, and one day the platform can be the main platform for others, any IoT implementation. And we have been doing this, teaching this, not only for the local universities to understand how to build applications, but also to teach the trainers themselves, the lecturers who have that, now they have the tool for them to develop application. So one day, once they go out and graduate, they will still continue to use the platform for their commercial or actual applications operations. So that's the idea that we are building, and that's where our strength is. And hopefully we'll continuously to upgrade the system to cater for the future needs.
Oh, very elaborate on this, actually, you're telling me. So it seems like, how big is the team going on now, since there's so many people using all these? Platform?
Surprisingly, the team is only 5 people.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so we have a very small and lean group of team. 3 of them very technical, who builds the front end and also the back end. Yeah.
Great. Dr. Mazlan, would you be able to share us any significant projects or partnerships that Favorite has undertaken, and the impact that comes with it? Maybe one, two projects that you have a very deep, very meaningful to you.
Okay. Uh, I think what I can explain a little bit more the project that we have. Uh, it is under the National Technology Innovation Sandbox. Yeah. So the NTIS program.
Oh, okay.
So this program allow us to test our platform and to build in at one of the sandbox. So we have chosen, since the platform can be used for smart city, so we choose one of the local councils, which we implement this at Putrajaya Holding. Okay, the pain point is something like this. In Putrajaya, in any local councils, they have a very big command center, and this command center, can visualize all the solutions, the smart application, the smart city applications on their big wall, the big dashboard, the big wall, the command center wall. But unfortunately, because in many of these solutions that comes in, they have their own dashboard, their own vertical applications, their own database, their own system. So they need to cater for multiple vendor environment, and it's very complex. And so what they wish is that is there any platform that can integrate of all the smart city applications into a single dashboard? That's very simple. The project where, so what happened is that our favorite IoT platform becomes the main integrated IoT platform for Putrajaya. So we integrate solutions that comes from the water, monitoring the lake water quality. We also integrate the system that comes from the environmental, that looks at the weather condition in Putrajaya, and also the river hydrology, the levels of water rising from the river. And in future, we will see that more and more applications of IoT can be integrated. So now, instead of having multiple dashboard, they have everything now in a single dashboard that they can view. And also what they do now is that they have the data now with all the different sources that they can do a lot of analytics. So with that, they can do, in future, they will be able to do forecasting, prediction of weather condition or even lake quality and so on and so forth. So that's the idea. So that's what they have one. Another one is that example that we can do is that we have one research agency for agriculture. So what happened is that they want to do a lot of projects and build their own sensors for agriculture monitoring. So instead of building everything by themselves, so they use our platform to quickly collect the data from their own sensors which they have built. So in this case, they are actually prototyping a lot of sensors and using the platform to rapidly collect, aggregate, and visualize the data. So to simplify everything, instead of now they have to do everything. Sometimes a project can take you about 1 year to do that. Now they can reduce that for a couple of months or even days or even weeks if they want to do quickly. So we can help them in terms of rapid development. Yeah, that's what we do.
Really interesting on that. I think cutting short of the days of doing things on these sensoring projects really makes a difference. I have something on this when you are saying that to check on the river water of Putrajaya coming up. Does this mean that this IoT can be deployed to, for flood projects or anything on that?
Yes, yes. IoT can do a lot of things. Any assets that you want to monitor, whether the river, the road, the transport, any assets can be monitored using IoT. So, but then the question is either you need to invest on the sensors, the right sensors, and how to send the data to the platform. So that's the only investment that it needs to take place, lah. So the similarities of IoT applications is almost everything is almost the same, where you need the right hardware, the right coverage of network, and the right platform to collect the data. The only thing that you need maybe is to customize it into your own applications. So that's where I think all these four components requires different expertise. So that's why I think for us, we sit in the middle where we are talking about the platform. So our expertise in the platform, but we also can do applications too.
Correct. I understand where you was coming from. You were saying that the software on the development technical side, you all can do it. It's just the hardware you are still using another one. Completely understand on this. That's amazing. Okay, and also the other question coming into this, right? With all this IoT, I believe that you see AI, IoT connects to a lot of data. With this, I really have this question. When this happens, right, what's like how do you address the concern of people having it, like for example, security and privacy is very important, right, in considerations in IOC ecosystem. How do you
Mm.
address this?
Okay, I think one of the main confusion when we deploy projects, sometimes we didn't even start with the beginning of understanding the data ownership. So that's where the privacy starts, the issue of privacy. Uh, Before even deploying an IoT solutions, because you know you're going to generate the data. But who owns the data? So classify that clearly, whether the data comes from personal data, which is your own data, you own the census, you own the data. So that is your rights, whether to share the data or not. Secondly, if the organization is a private company, every data that comes from the company owns by the company themselves. So that's their ownership. Thirdly, you have the government who actually deploy data to look at the census of the river, environmental. So they need to share the data for the public because that's public money, the taxpayers' money. They have to share the data, the information to the public. And then there is another group of data where no one wants to build, but someone actually build it for commercial use. So they collect the data with their own sensors, but if you want the data, I can sell the data. So they have the rights because they are the one that owns the data.
Owns
So it
the
depends on how you categorize it first. Then that's where the business model can come in lah. If I'm the commercial sensor provider, if you want my data, you have to pay for it. If you're from the government, it's the taxpayers' money. That's what my understanding is. Okay, if you're private, then you don't share the data. So that's ownership of data must be very clear in order for you to protect your own privacy. In terms of security-wise, it's very technical part. That's technical. It depends how you want to protect your data from the hardware up to the applications. So along the way, the connectivity, you have to protect the platform, you need to protect the applications with the right password. All the layers of protection needs to be there. So if people ask me, I'm more responsible on the platform. So we have a platform which is secure in the cloud, which is very trusted. We have authentication where people cannot just, interject or collect the data from any device. It's very long password, a long API key that they cannot crack. So that's how we protect on our portion. So the rest of the portion, I need to talk with the hardware providers, how their firmware, the software in the hardware is protected, and also the application provider who write the software needs to be well defined in terms of their process of password and so on and so forth. So that is different layers of protection into security, which need to be very planned much earlier, but also the areas of privacy where it's more on business terms and conditions that you need to put in place.
Okay, understand that. And I'll have two more last questions about this because one is very ad hoc. You know what happened? Security Commission has announced that for all the related startups or any business that's linked to ESG, they have these MyC funds coming in. Means that it's a 1-to-2 ratio. Where previously a lot of business was 1-to-4, the 1-to-2 ratio was for every 2 million invested funds, government would match up to a 1 million. So we're actually seeing from our side as funding consulting side where we also practice on ECF for others, right? We see that most likely there will be a lot of startups coming into this scene that they may be using looking into the IoT. I'm half suspecting that even on our end there would be relevant business in this industry knocking doors to find solutions on this. So what is your advice, right? Do you have, right, for all these entrepreneurs if they are looking into coming into the ESG part and to leverage using IoT technologies?
In the ESG portion, mainly IoT will play a role in the environmental part lah, the E part. Yeah, it's about the real measurement. Most of the measurement in the ESG sometimes, something that you have purchased, something that you have used, utilized, but there are things which you need to capture and measure, quantify that. So how do you quantify? Because this regulation, one day the compliance must also do an audit whether you are really doing things that you are actually talking. So you must measure that. In terms of carbon emission, utilizing the petrol, whatever. That need to be measured. The only way to measure this is through IoT. And you have to put sensors to monitor the carbon emission, to monitor the environmental, to you monitor your usage of fuel and so on and so forth. It can be very clearly monitored. So IoT is a way for you to comply, to aggregate this data and pass it to the system for you to do the calculation. So that's critical. So that's where we see where IoT can play a big role in compliance and also auditing of the whole things that you know everyone is talking about lah. That's what we do. Yeah.
Okay, my last question. What would you advise if there are entrepreneurs, startups who actually wants to go into the field? What is the minimum, bare minimum you think that they will need? For example, they need to form up a team, a technical person, or what are the team that they need? That's the crucial
Okay.
thing. Any
The
advice?
the bare minimum you must have two skills lah. These two co-founders, which normally not one have everything. Very rare to have that. One is on the technical part, which the person who understands how to build. Because if you talk about startup, you talk about people who want to build on technical part. Then the technical understanding strong in technical part must be there. So he will be managing the whole project based on his technical skills. But the other part is more important also is about the business part and business skills and also doing the marketing and the person who become the face of the company. So that is also is very key because for me, when we realized that when we started off our journey, we started off building the hardware quickly, building the solutions quickly, which is on the technical part. But we forgot about promoting it, getting the market to buy into the solutions. So that's where I think we cannot just do one thing and then we forget another thing. I think you have to go hand in hand because it's very key for the market traction to be in the very first place. Without market traction, the proof of your product, if then there's no proof, your product will be, there will be no, you cannot sustain. That's the important thing that I think for both of these person need to work very closely by ensuring the right product, a quality product that you have built, but you have to ensure the market must be there when the product is completed. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Thank you so much for your time today, Dr. Mazlan. We have a clearer understanding of what Favorite does and how we can probably, even on ESG coming into it or any projects that's happened, we can connect to you on this.
Sure, no problem.
Very
It's a
interesting.
pleasure, Veronica.